Ready for a change?
I am talking to you.
Then get ready to explore the quantum possibilities. It's time to transform that outdated paradigm into something universal and new. Time to uncover the truth hidden beneath the veil of lies. A time to think outside the box as we link to a higher consciousness. Welcome to the awakening. And now the hosts of Broadcast Team Alpha, Nori Love and Augie Nost.
Well, hello, radiant, remembering, resilient rock stars. Whew. Hold on, I have to take my mask off. Okay, now I can breathe better. How are you guys doing? It's Tuesday night. We are so happy to be here tonight, and we have a really, really fun and interesting guest for you. But I just wanted to ask you a couple of things. Like, when it comes to 5D, what do you think it is? I mean, do you think it's a place? Do you think it's a frequency? I have a little bit of a medical background, and I've been playing with it. And, I wonder sometimes if it might be the structures in our brain. I mean, could it be the ventricles? There's 4 of them, so 2 of them are lateral, so it could be 3D, 4D, 5D. I mean, I don't know. What do I know? But what I do know is, do you remember when Looney Tunes was spelled Tunes? Well, suddenly it's Toons. And the Bernstein Bears, they were actually the Bernstein Bears. And Curious George, he had a tail, and now he doesn't have a tail. Febreze was Febreze, and now it's Febreze. Now, these are all, kind of festive and fun examples, but are they examples of the Mandela effect? We're going to find out tonight. So hold on to your seats, put your seatbelt on. Hi, Augie, how are you?
I am wonderful.
I mean, did you know that Oscar Mayer used to be Oscar Mayer with an E? Now there's an A in it. I remember it used to be OSCAR Meyer. They used to sing that song, and now it's got an A. So why are they rewriting history with things like that? And what else are they changing?
There's an explanation lurking in the wings here, and we're going to get some of that. Yeah, we have a really exciting guest here. It is Eric Reza Dadmeyer. I hope I pronounced that name right, and if I didn't, then please forgive me. He's a highly educated man. He is an immigrant to the United States, as I also am, and he speaks several languages. He's a frequent lecturer at conferences. He's a sought-after guest on radio shows and a great researcher of what is outside of the box. And for the next hour, we are going to be the beneficiaries of his research. Oh, this is going to get good. Once we start poking at some of the stuff outside of the box, things turn very interesting really quick. Because conspiracy theories seems to go away. You see, it is not a conspiracy theory anymore if you can prove it. And Eric has proven many of them to be true. It became very obvious to Nori and I earlier here today when we talked to Eric on the phone before the show that his vast knowledge and resources and research is not going to fit into an hour show. So we need several shows to even scratch the surface. And it was difficult to choose what to talk about because there's so much to choose from. But I love to start out with something that is affecting everybody on the globe right now. Sorry, flat earthers. And that is the global awakening to higher consciousness and possible acceleration into a different arena with 5D. And also, I would love to have him talk a little bit about something that hardly anybody knows anything about, and that is the Nikola Tesla Trump connection. Oh, yes, Trump is aware of Nikola Tesla and the free energy that he created. And you just wait and see. And we just might hear more about that. And we'll talk maybe about the Mandela effect. And gosh, I don't know where it will go. Shows kind of have a way to take off on their own. So let's do it. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Welcome, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you for a very nice introduction. It was perfect, right on the money. I've been known as a conspiracy speaker, and it's funny when after many years my friends are telling me, how does it feel to be verified and vilified? So
vilified.
Yeah,
feels good, doesn't it?
It's good to be validated,
Yeah.
and because you put so much time and you're inside your voice, and you're curious yourself, what's really going on? There's something, that's why they coined it the Mandela effect, is because Nelson Mandela was the first example. They realized that they're not living in Kansas anymore and that something is really wrong, because when Nelson Mandela died in jail, I cried when he died. And then later when he became president of South Africa, I was shocked. I was like, hey, wait a second. How's that possible? He died. I cried. And then so everybody runs to Google and Googles, when did he die? And if you go look on Google Trends, you can see many times people asking this question. So he was the first example. They realized something is wrong. And really, honestly, I didn't understand Mandela effect right away. And because I knew that CERN was involved, because CERN in Switzerland, the Large Hadron Collider, was opening in time holes, those Norway spirals and wormholes, and maybe bringing entities from other dimensions. But they were definitely affecting the space-time continuum, and just like time travelers are going in and out of our dimension. And maybe they changed little things. So I was trying to see possibilities of how these timelines, because we are quantum beings, and there are many versions of us in different timelines, but we're not this body. We're a spirit, soul, that has dimensional awareness, like a quantum D-wave computer tracking different timelines. It knows at the highest sense, like the Akashic records, what has transpired. So we have a memory of things being different in another timeline. That means that in my timeline that I'm from, because I'm certainly not from this timeline, my Bible said that it was the lion and the lamb. And I remember looking at paintings and rugs and blankets with the lion and the lamb. But then later, in this timeline, it's the wolf and the lamb in Isaiah. And how is that possible? And I was saying, well, did they change and print new Bibles? Did they change the story? What's changing? And what's changing is us, because all the major talks about the fabric of space is that we're a hologram. We're living in a hologram matrix, just like the movies, The Matrix. They have zeros and ones falling because that's the language of computers. And the fabric of space is, if we're living in a computer matrix, that means that we're not real. Okay, it's an illusion. What's real is when you dream in your spirit and your soul that you remember. That's real. Mm-hmm. And see, and that's an interdimensional thing. See, in the higher dimensions that exist in the same dimension but a higher frequency, it's like woven in and overlapping and permeating, but a higher vibrational, vibrating so fast that we can't see it. And so,
Eric?
Yes.
Hey, you mentioned CERN, and I was just itching to run this by you because I remember, I think it's a couple of 3 years ago now, when they discovered the Higgs boson. Remember that?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
there were a panel of the people that worked at CERN. There were some executives there, and there were a few engineers there. And one of them, he started the meeting out with saying, "We apologize for you. We destroyed your world, but we are in a parallel timeline, so everything is okay." Do you remember that?
Not only do I remember that, but I was on a Skype call with Paul Hellier of Canada, Karen MacDonald, a friend of mine, and I think Alfred Weber Labermont. But it was a conference call. I just called them up one night to see what was going on, on the Skype. And Karen McDonald is so interesting. She's always talking to everybody,
Yeah.
and stays up really late. So they were watching CERN burn. Actually, they were watching weird things going on at Paris, trying to figure out before it ate itself. So, and we'd had actually a friend who was a super soldier that was there we knew was there at CERN, and we watched it burn. We were watching the cameras of the main streets in France that are normally busy, being just no traffic whatsoever. And then this pond that didn't normally have a fountain in it, but water was shooting from underneath because CERN was underneath. And I guess it was on the French. It was in Switzerland, but in Geneva, I guess, or I'm not sure. I forgot exactly what it was.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
it
right on the border.
It was right on the border, and then and we saw all this, and then it went down. But I didn't understand it when it happened. But we watched a timeline end. That is when that timeline that we were all on got sucked into the black hole of CERN, and we ceased that timeline and we shifted to this one. Okay, so yes, that what he is talking about really happened, and they burned CERN, and it sucked into itself. We watched it burn, and all the different cameras they have everywhere, and that was really weird.
That is amazing.
Definitely, and even though you're watching it and you understand all these and you're studying all these things, it's hard to put things together sometimes because you're right in the middle and you can be distracted with little different situations. And my friend was, we didn't know, and then when we saw that super soldier show up at a conference, they were saying he's a clone, and they were telling me, don't, he's a clone, we watched him die. No way, but no, see, that it was another him in another timeline, and there are many of us. So there are many infinite amount of timelines, and that's what we have to understand. That's what I wasn't understanding for a year about Mandela effect, that there are many parallel universes, and that's an important thing to understand. But we're now on the positive timeline. So
how do you think this what did happen at CERN that brought us onto this timeline? How do you think that interfaces with us and the global raising of consciousness and the awakening and possibly raising into a higher vibration where there is a different existence again?
That's an excellent, right on the money bullseye question, because this is exactly my top research question that I'm always looking at. And the people that I'm studying that I feel are really close to the answer is this guy on YouTube called Jetson White. Like the Jetsons cartoon?
Yeah.
And then White, black or white. Jetson White. He's a very interesting guy, and he follows Q, but he's posting many things. He's showing you the different suns and different things that are happening at the cameras of our planets, and how they have brought us into this timeline and how we're going to escape this dimension. Trump is a very aware person, and he is using the the highest technologies. And his uncle, John G. Trump, was friends with Tesla in the 1920s in New York, and he was the one who designed that New Yorker hotel that was a generator that could have powered the whole New York and was a time travel machine, because UFOs too are time travel machines, and so definitely he has this technology and is aware, because when Tesla died, he had some 80 trunks of papers, and they were locked in the basement of this New Yorker hotel, and they, he was really the only man smart enough to even understand his work, his papers. But they actually worked together, and he designed. That hotel is just like the pyramid in Egypt, with the same water running underneath it and the same angles, the long angles, and because many things have to happen to generate free energy and be ready for these machines to work. But I'm very excited because we don't understand, of what we're going to learn in the near future. We're just going to really make a jump in consciousness, and we have to do it all together and wake up together. And how that's going to happen is when all this comes out about the arrests and the evilness involved. I think that will bring us together.
But doesn't President Trump have some of Tesla's papers now? His records?
Yeah, I think he has better than that. He has the actual working devices.
Nice.
And he's friends with John Jr. Kennedy, and John Jr. I think he's going to come back.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, me too.
I'm waiting for that.
I think that he's going to be his running mate for vice president, even maybe.
Well, how cool would that be? Wow.
I think that would bring everybody together, because I remember, I'm born in California, Sacramento. But I grew up in Iran, and when I was living in Iran 6 years, I remember Kennedy being woven into the blankets and carpets, and that he was very revered, and because they knew that he was going against the people that were, dividing and conquering the world. So. It's really some positive times we're going to be seeing, and it's more than just election. All this pandemic to steal the election for November, this is what it's really all about, is to steal the election, because you can go to many websites and see that they're lies, and they're breaking our constitutional rights with this. These laws the governors are trying to push, they mandate things that are really, suggestions. They're not law. I think they can't make laws, and so, and they're basically HIPAA violations and ADA violations. They can't tell us about our health and push us, So, what's really going on, and will we unite, and how hard is it? Some people are so stuck in their core beliefs that they're going to really have a rude awakening. And it's difficult to overcome these beliefs sometimes that hold us back. Once we can get to a neutral state and be open to these new ideas, I believe that it will accelerate quickly what is going down, because I see it. I see it happening, and I'm just so excited. And people are worried and saying, "Aren't you scared you're going to get?" I tell them that we don't even understand the simple cold or flu. How do we understand a virus that is and see, there is a retrovirus that is man-made and can be patented, and the only way you get these is in a needle, in an injection. So. And I like to also talk about Arthur Firstenberg and the book Invisible Rainbow, because it turns out every viral pandemic is directly related to electricity and vaccinations. So Arthur Firstenberg really he talks about anxiety disorder never showing up in the medical history until 1866, when we first started putting telegraph wires in the soil. And then anxiety disorder showed up. And then 3 years later, they put the AC current, and we got the influenza pandemic. And every year we do something electronically, like the telegraph, radar, and satellites. We have some pandemic. And also, remember the Spanish flu, the soldiers were getting 14 to 25 vaccinations, and that was very toxic. So it's a crazy world, and many people that we think are dead are really alive still, and many people we think are alive are dead. So many things are about to come out, and we're going to see this, and I think this is going to pull us together, and then we're going to be showing this technology, because one thing we have to understand is that we're not this body, and we're not physical. We're spiritual beings living in a physical world, having a human experience. Yeah, and once we can transcend, these are the higher dimensions, because I don't believe the aliens are in outer space. They're in the inner dimensions. And even some of them say that they are us from the future, wondering what happened, because we supposedly destroyed ourselves. So another timeline that they're coming from, they're trying to figure out what's going on, and did you know that it's illegal to communicate with extraterrestrials? Did you know that it's illegal to communicate?
I'm sorry, I'm going to jail then.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying, is because if you're communicating with an intelligent, advanced being, they want to give you free energy information. And information that will raise your consciousness, and they don't want that. And dolphins, if you ever have swum with dolphins, they bombard you with the sonar, and they just make you high without smoking weed, and they raise your consciousness. And once you get linked and hooked with them, you communicate with them. When you're sleeping on the beach, you look up and you see them swimming, and then you think jump, then they jump, and it's really amazing. We have these connections, and so because they're our mammal cousins. Yes,
we have 2 minutes to. We have 1 minute to the break. So before we go, have you seen the meme that's out there of Trump, a younger Trump, sitting with John JFK Jr. at like a basketball game, and the text says, "Okay, so let me get this right. When the plane goes down, you want me to pick you up where?"
Exactly.
I love that. I love that.
And when you look at his magazine, George, there's a lot of clues too. There's one magazine that gives you all these clues.
That's right.
That.
All right, we've got 30 seconds to the break. When we come back, I'm going to do a shout out to the amazing people in the chat room and Knoxville, Tennessee. So we'll see you on the other side.
This is the Broadcast Team Alpha Show, hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. The one show that takes your doubts of the unknown and spins them into reality. Share your thoughts by calling our hotline number at 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Call now. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. More cutting-edge conversation and exploration of the quantum universe after this.
Your journey from the land of the living to the afterlife starts here. The Weird Tales Radio Show, Thursdays 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Your weekly fix for ghost stories, urban myths, witchcraft, and folklore. Hosted by the sometimes werewolf hunter, Charles Christian, and his co-host, Janie Christian. The Weird Tales Radio Show is an off-the-wall, fabulously atmospheric, and radio magazine formatted show, rated as one of the UK's most listened to podcasts. If you're a fan of the weird and unusual, then tune in if you dare. Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. The Weird Tales Radio Show. The one show that takes your fears of the unknown and spins them into reality. The Weird Tales Radio Show on the KCOR Digital Radio Network, where the weird and the strange come out to play.
Great.
It's great. I think it's great.
The all-new KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Great.
Make a note of it.
It's great.
If ever a breed was affectionate to a fault, it's the Golden Retriever. They're people dogs, pure and simple. And the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada needs your help. If you would like to volunteer, foster, adopt, or donate, go to the Golden Retriever Rescue of Southern Nevada's website at grrsn.org. That's grrsn.org. Or call 598-GOLD. That's 598-GOLD.
We interrupt this program to annoy you and make things generally irritating.
At the end of the day, we turn the lights down in the KCOR studio.
Oh, sweet.
And crank up the hottest club songs from around the world.
This is the future.
The Grind, mixed by Tina Marie, your Vegas vixen of the high desert.
What about the body? What kind of body?
Good body. Nice body.
Every night from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Pacific. The best 3 hours of commercial-free music.
New music first.
It's time to stand up and dance your ass off. The Grind, nightly and exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network.
Come on, it's kind of hot.
Going live.
Come explore the quantum possibilities. This is Broadcast Team Alpha. To be on the show live, call 702-425-9230. That's 702-425-9230. Worldwide callers use Skype name KCOR Radio. Share your thoughts of the show on Twitter at KCOR Radio, #KCOR. Or join the cutting edge conversation live in our chat room at KCORradio.com. Now back to Broadcast Team Alpha with your free thinking hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nast.
Hey, everybody. It's time for the shout outs. Big shout out to Margaret Stocksdale, who is broadcasting this show in Knoxville, Tennessee, in the Mind Your P's and Q's bar. Is it called a bar, Margaret? Forgive me if it's not. So big shout out to you guys there. And how cool is that? Ellen McNeil is here. Hi, Ellen. JTM is here. And of course, the beautiful and illustrious Tina Marie is here. David Cook. Love is here. Exie Suzanne. Bruce Smith. Hello. David Cook. JTM again. Mind Your P's and Q's and Margaret. John is here. Condor 3. Park Cake, hello. Oh, Park Cake, I wanted to say something about that test you were talking about. That's so interesting. Naj is here, of course. Iowa Girl, hello. And then Mike M is here. See, now I know how to go over into this other column. Summer is here. Rob is here. Hi, Rob. Mike M is here. Lisa, Karen, and Linda, Joe, Jackie, yay. Doc Who? I don't know. Hello. Celestial Stars. And if I missed you, please forgive me. I'm just so happy you are all here. So Iowa Girl, my friend who also lives in Florida, had a friend who went to get tested for COVID. And I don't know if she went to like a CVS or she went to a lab, but wherever it was, she signed in. she looked around. She's sitting there with all these people who want to get tested, and it was really crowded. It was so crowded that she decided to leave. So she left without being seen. 2 weeks later, she got a letter in the mail saying she was COVID positive. How'd that happen?
Exactly.
How'd that happen? So during the break, we were talking about the Mandela effect. Forgive me for saying mandala when I started. I was thinking about the things that I was drawing today to try and keep my sanity. But we were talking about the Mandela effect, and we were talking about the changes that are happening related to timelines. So, Eric, let's talk about Ellis. Let's talk about the Statue of Liberty.
Yes, we figured out that we probably all three of us are from the same timeline, because I asked you one of my favorite examples, which island is Statue of Liberty on, and I was happy when you guys said Ellis Island, because that's what I would say. It's Ellis Island. But when you look it up, you'll see that it's not in New York Harbor anymore. It's in New Jersey on Liberty Island. And actually, it's on a star fort. I'd like you to look into star forts, because I also I love talking about Tartaria.
What is that?
Tartaria is the ancient capitals that we see, that we think are Greco-Roman. All the Capitol buildings, City Hall, the post office, all those beautiful buildings that look like Greco-Roman. They were taken over by the Phoenicians, and they put their statues in there. And really the Tartarian giants, there were the giants that lived in America. And we have to look at Tartaria, because that's one of the secrets they're hiding from us, is the history of Tartaria. All the beautiful buildings that we think are Greco weren't built in the 1800s by horses and carriages. No way. We don't have the technology to build a dome today. The advanced mathematics involved in the curvature of the dome and the drying time of the cement and the tiles, laying it on the inside, curved on the inside so that it'll fall down. We don't. There's nobody that can build like that here in America. And these are and that's why they're called Freemasons, because they got everything free. They didn't build anything. They built maybe steps into the third floor, because the mud flood came and buried a lot of these buildings. You look up mud flood too. These buildings are buried. In New York, I was given a tour. They secretly took me down to the basement, and they showed me these windows with mud coming up. I said, why would they put a window here with the mud? And they just couldn't answer me. I said, and I was thinking, what is this? They were obviously trying to share something with me, because they knew I was bright and into these kind of things. And I just didn't get it right away. I couldn't think, okay, well, the mud came and buried everything. And there's been evidence of these mud floods throughout history. And there are star forts all over the world. So look at the star forts and look at the buildings. Once you learn about these things, it's like when you lose your virginity and you go out in the world and you see sex was a secret language and everywhere. It's like a new world opens up to you. And you see all these ancient buildings, and you see the antique technology with free energy that harnesses it out of the air and puts it into the grid. They were an advanced civilization that was taken out by these Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians are the people who are doing the maritime law and the Uniform Commercial Code. But see, we're moving away from this, hopefully. And hopefully we're battling these bad forces and overcoming. So we're going to see some grand changes on a biblical scale, and it's really a war on our soul. You have to believe in some kind of God or deity or source or higher dimensional being, because it's true. And we have to do the work to get there. We can't just have it poured in us. We have to do the meditation. We have to quiet the mind. We have to, see the polarities are fear and love. Mm-hmm. And when you live in love, you vibrate the shit out of everything else, because you love them and you vibrate you love, you forget. I love the Hawaiian saying, "Ho'opono no,"
Oh, yes,
I can't even
absolutely.
say it.
Mhm.
I love you, I forgive you, I'm sorry, and it's
Please
all both.
forgive me. Yep.
Yeah, please forgive me at the same time. I love you and I'm sorry and everything, all at once. Where it's kabam, kaboom, it throws you right. Humans are the only ones that can go like these policemen chasing a criminal, and then he has to, the guy's shooting him, then the policeman shoots him, and then he feels bad and he goes into a saving mode. He wants to get the ambulance and save the guy, and so he's reversing. It's like driving on the freeway and going in reverse, fast. We can do that, and we switch to that love, compassion, and because and it's too bad it takes one of these disaster situations for us to forget who we are, that you're another me, that I'm another you. But these are things that are really important now, because this is how we're going to battle this artificial intelligence. The artificial intelligence can only control a small percentage of us if we let them, if we're so zombied out from eating the wrong foods and doing drugs and alcohol. But if we have control of our higher selves and our mind and are comfortable with ourselves and love ourselves, AI can't touch us. We vibrate too fine of a frequency.
Eric?
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned Tartaria. And
yes,
when I grew up back in Norway, when I was in grade school, one of the teachers, he mentioned it, and he said something to the effect that it was a global empire that dated back a long time. It went from far into Siberia, almost to what is now India border, and the Middle East and Europe. And beyond, I don't know if he said anything about Americas, but he said that was done away with not too far, a few hundred years ago is when it ceased to exist.
They want us to, that's what they want us to believe. But the CIA made, in 1944, they made a rule that you could not mention Tartaria. You had to refer to it as the old country. And see, basically, they made the Tartarians barbarians. And so there's this bread in Iran called noon is bread, noon. And they have this nuna barbari, it means on the Barbary coast. But it's really Tartari, which is Tartaria. And that's where tarts come from, and tartans and tar and the asphalt. It's all coming from Tartaria. Genghis Khan was a Tartar. Attila the Hun, and there were a lot of these guys were giants too. And see, the Smithsonian hides these facts and skeletons, and they don't want us to know about the history of Tartaria. And they take all the plaques they put their other plaques on top of it, like they built it in 1800s. So it's a good place to look into. And one of my favorite people who really does a great job of looking at all the evidence, the art historical evidence, his name is Martin Liedtke, and that's Martin, and Liedtke, Liedtke. And the other person on YouTube that I really enjoy his work is John Levy, Jonlevi. And they both show you the art historical evidence and the antique technology that we had. We had flying cars and flying, we had free energy, and we communicated with telephones, and we Skypes back then. Okay, we did many things that they don't want us to know about, and it's obvious that when they reset the society and how they brought new people in and how they had these expositions to show everybody before they took it away and destroyed it.
So can I ask a different question?
Of course.
Tell me what you're thinking about 5D. Because everybody is talking about 5D.
Okay, 5D, right now we're supposedly in the third dimension, right? Where there's, and let's think about that. What is the third? What is the second dimension and first dimension? Okay, 2 dimension means you're going like if you put your pencil on a paper, you're going either north, south, east, or west. That's 2 dimension. Now that's the XY coordinates. I mean, and let's say we're going to add a Z coordinate now, which is going completely off the paper in another direction, giving us a third dimension. Okay, so that's 3 dimensions. So where are you going to go from there, from fourth and fifth? It's in the same space, but it's multi-directional, and it's all encompassing. So it impermeates those, but rises above, and that it vibrates a higher frequency vibration. So you can't see it, and it's not physical. So the place you have to look in our physical body is in our psychic centers, which are the pituitary pineal glands. Okay, the pituitary and pineal glands is our psychic center, and really we have to look at our heart, and because not just our brain but our heart, because our heart is 100,000 times more powerful than the electrical energy from our brain, and we can send out ripples that go beyond the edges of the universe from our heart. So my heart has sent out these vibrational fields and gone through you, and yours have gone through me, and we have to learn to control these vibrations by living in no fear and living in love. And when we learn the difference between fear and love, then we know the polarities of no fear, which is love, and it just bounces off you. People try to hurt me, and they hurt themselves, because I love them and I forgive them, and I laugh it off, and it just bounces off me. Okay, so it's very good shield, and it's a very good it's a vehicle. It's a good tool to have, and a good way to be. It's a good attitude to have, and it's a powerful gift to share.
If we are going to transcend the fourth dimension, the third and the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension, how would that appear to us? Is there a way that we can know when we have arrived, or do we see a transition into it? We can probably feel it right now, but is there anything that we can see or just recognize that I think we are there?
I think, everybody is asking the same question. I'm asking the same question. And how can I talk about something that goes beyond words, that goes, that transcends everything? I know what I do know is we will have I've had near-death experiences, and I've seen the light, and I've seen dead relatives and animals, and I've risen above and seen my body below in the pool, and so I know that we're not this body, and that we will always be conscious. So we will be conscious, but you will be feeling light and super powerful, and as soon as you think of some place, you arrive there as fast as you think about it. Okay, at the speed of light, whatever you think about, it happens. That's why you have to think good thoughts and really visualize what you want in life, because really we will have everything that we think of, and that's why we must think good thoughts and be positive. Because there was this one lady. I'm about to walk the dogs in the dog park, and there was this one lady, telling me, Eric, I know you're a shaman, and what can I do to get the state job? You have a state job. How did you get your job? I told her, I said, listen, congratulations. You already have the job. Okay. I laughed. I said, congratulations. You already have the job. I said, all you have to do now is go buy a shirt for that job. You already have it. I told her she had it, and she believed me, and she went out and bought a shirt for the job, and they gave it to her. She got it. Mm-hmm. And she was so excited and told me, and I said, of course, I knew already. And she goes, I know you knew, and I believed you. And I said, you believed you. You know, I said you believed you, and we have to believe in ourselves. Okay, it's really simple. Huh?
Well, it's a little hard, and people are being challenged. We're all being challenged to not be fearful.
Yes.
Or angry, because there's a lot of things that are going on that could really, really, really insult us. And Condor in the chat room regarding 5D said, no limitations, imagination is the key in the fifth, fully conscious and functioning. And John said, fear induces judgment, where love induces allowance. And that's beautiful. And I don't think you can just go, okay, I love everybody, and I'm allowing. I mean, it takes a little bit more than that. And you said something before that I think is really key. We have to examine our beliefs. Does this belief belong to me? Or does this belief that pushes my buttons when people go against it, is that something that was taught to me? And why am I having such a visceral and violent reaction to it when I get my buttons pushed about it? Those are where I think we should be looking, and as we start to open up the door to those, then moving into a place of allowing and a place of flowing love becomes a little bit easier and a little bit easier. Do you agree? Or
I think that's really perfect what you said, because we're being attacked by 6 different artificial intelligence, and your thoughts might not be your thoughts. And because we're inhaling these chemtrails, the nanoaluminum, this nanoaluminum becomes the antenna for the 5G. And DARPA website shows this voice to skull technology where they can put thoughts in your head and make you feel sleepy or horny or sick or whatever. And they can totally, so that's why the meditation is important. And also I do almond milk, and I eat almonds without the skin because it pushes the aluminum out and it detoxifies me. And then I like doing charcoal with cilantro to detoxify. But I found this really powerful fulvic minerals. I love the
I just ordered that. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent. I hope it was through the link that I have on my website, because it turns out I looked at all the different ones, and this one is 4 times more powerful than any other. And it's from what's funny is the guy who tested it, he was from Ottawa, Canada, and he went around the world and tested the different percentages, 8 to 12% of the fulvic minerals. And it turns out one of the 5 or 6 places in Canada that he tested, the one right next to him was the highest, 36%. Wow. So I decided, hey, I'm on board, and I'm always looking for the latest, greatest superfood. Superman needs superfood, and I do a lot of different superfoods. And when I found this, I said I have to work with these guys. These guys are awesome, and I look forward to going there and looking at this place. So it's called.
Where is the place?
It's in Ottawa, but I want you to. This is the website. It's called Black Oxygen Organics. Okay. blackoxygenorganics.com, and then you put a / Eric the Healer, and it's capital E and capital H for Eric the Healer. But that's my thing, and you can sell if you want to. If you fall in love like I do, and you want to make money selling. I didn't at first. I thought it was a pyramid type thing, and it isn't. And it's a different system of sharing, and it's an antioxidant, and it's anti-inflammatory, and it's rich in fulvic minerals. It's making me feel like you're getting things that we were used to getting when we were first around, when there was a lot more oxygen in the air,
and when the food was real.
Right, and the food was real. So because I bought these other pills, These pills are only they're less than 100 for a bottle, but I bought some pills for 400 and 200 on another website that promises the same things but isn't delivering. And so, but they said that they're willing to give me, it's full money back guarantee for these other websites. But this guy is not just like is not like that.
I see now that we have less than 3 minutes left of the show, so let people know where they can get a hold of you, and so they can get in touch with you. And you have also a lecture coming up. Tell us about that too.
I'm doing. I met a friend. When I went to the UFO conferences in the 80s, I met somebody. I kept seeing the same guy over and over, and we met each other. And finally, we hooked up again and do these conferences. And we've been doing it for 7 years now. And he's asked me to come to Los Angeles quickly and do a one-day. Usually we have a weekend, but we're just doing a one-day event in Los Angeles. If you're in Los Angeles this weekend, Saturday, I'll be the first speaker in the morning and at 9 o'clock. And I'll be speaking about the pandemic and the laws and about the history of viral pandemics and how they're directly related to electricity and vaccination. And
where is
Saturday. That's in the LAX of Holiday Inn, Los Angeles. The Holiday Inn. There's 2 Holiday Inns in the LAX area, Los Angeles Airport area. This is the one that's closer to the freeway. And if you want to go to 5D events, you can see that poster. We're going to be in Vegas in October. And I think I might do some other. I look forward to doing more shows with you here if you want, and we can talk more about other things.
Okay.
But this Mandela effect is very interesting, and I'm glad that you wanted to talk about this because it's a first step to let us know that there's something different going on that we don't really understand.
Where do they get a hold of you?
I think we met on LinkedIn.
No, where can people find you?
I'm Eric the Healer on Facebook. Please like my page, Eric the Healer on Facebook.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we are down to the close here, but just 10 seconds left. So thank you very much, Eric, for being with us. This was interesting, and I'm hoping we can get you back.
Of course. I'm on Instagram too, Eric the Healer, Instagram and Facebook. Thank you very much. I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Broadcast Team Alpha.
Broadcast Team Alpha.
Hosted by Nori Love and Augie Nost. Every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. The balance of power is shifting to a new paradigm. Will you be ready? For more information on Broadcast Team Alpha, as well as the hosts, Nori Love and Augie Nost, please visit their website at broadcastteamalpha.com. Until next week, remember to keep those minds open while always exploring the endless quantum possibilities.
Broadcast Team Alpha. Over and out.
This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.